The Grand Council Hall was the largest room in the galaxy. Built from silver stone and glowing crystal, it floated in the middle of deep space. Inside the hall, hundreds of alien leaders sat around a wide round table. They came from many star systems. Some had wings, others had sharp claws, and a few had no eyes at all. These were the rulers of powerful civilizations, each with fleets, armies, and long histories. At the center of the table stood a single chair, cold and empty. That chair belonged to Earth. It was the first time humanity had been invited. When the human delegation entered, the room became quiet for a moment. 4 people walked in, dressed in black suits, calm and serious. One was an old general with silver hair and eyes like steel. The others were scientists and diplomats. They bowed politely and took their seats without saying a word. Then the laughter began. It started with a soft chuckle from the insectoid ambassador of the Creel Empire. Soon the reptiles from Gorth joined in, their deep growls echoing across the hall. The jelly-like beings from the Nolixan systems shook with joy. "Is this a joke?" one asked loudly, its voice bubbling through a translator. "Are these humans?" another shouted. "They look so small. Where are your warships? Your weapons? Your armies?" One delegate laughed so hard that he fell out of his floating chair. The council hall rang with alien laughter. Some pounded the table. Others clapped their hands, or claws, or tentacles. It was not kind laughter. It was the laughter of people who thought they were better, older, stronger, smarter. But the humans did not smile. They sat still, calm, their eyes watching. When the laughter finally slowed, the oldest human stood. His name was General Marcus Hale. He had fought in many battles on Earth, but today he wore no medals. He walked to the center of the room and looked around at the leaders who had mocked his kind. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. He said just one sentence. "We hoped for peace." Then, without waiting for a reply, he turned and walked away. The other humans followed him. No anger, no fear, no shame, just quiet footsteps on the silver floor. They left the hall without looking back. The great door closed behind them with a soft hum. Silence fell again. For the first time, the council didn't know what to say. "What just happened?" whispered a 4-eyed leader from the Kren Dominion. "Why didn't they respond?" "They walked out," said another. "Just walked out." "They should be angry," said a thin alien with green skin. "Why are they not angry?" No one had an answer. The laughter was gone now. In its place, there was something else. A feeling in the air. It wasn't fear. Not yet. But it was something close. Outside the hall, the humans boarded their ship. A simple ship by council standards. It had no large weapons, no glowing engines. But it was fast and quiet. Inside, the crew waited. "Did it go as expected?" the pilot asked. "Yes," General Hale replied. They laughed. "And now?" "Now we wait." Back in the council hall, the alien leaders began to speak again. Some were angry. "They disrespected the council," one said. "They should be punished." Others were confused. They didn't argue. They didn't fight. Why? A few were quiet, thinking. The oldest among them, a long-bodied creature called Elron, had seen many things. "This is not weakness," he said slowly. "This is something else." "What do you mean?" another asked. Elron looked toward the empty human seat. "When a creature shows its teeth, it wants to scare you. When a creature shows its claws, it wants to fight. But when a creature walks away..." He paused. "It means you were never worth the fight." The words hung in the air like smoke. In the days that followed, many tried to contact Earth. Messages were sent, apologies, questions, but there was no reply. Earth went silent. Their ships stayed close to home. Their signals stopped. No trade, no talk, no sound. Some thought Earth was hurt. Others thought they were planning revenge. But the truth was more dangerous. No one knew. Some younger alien races grew nervous. Should we be worried? They asked. Are the humans angry? Older races laughed. Again, but less loudly this time. Then, a Creole spy ship followed a human cargo vessel back to Earth. It stayed hidden in the shadow of a moon. What it saw was not weakness. It was not silence. It was preparation. Earth was busy. Not with war, but with progress. Cities were growing. New energy sources were being tested. Old weapons were locked deep underground, but blueprints were being reviewed. Satellites moved in strange patterns. Space stations hummed with strange power. The humans were not preparing to fight. They were preparing to change. The spy ship returned, and its report was delivered to the council. No one laughed when it was read aloud. They left the council, the spy commander said, because they were disappointed. Not afraid, not angry, just done. A cold silence filled the room again, and far away, on Earth, a small child looked up at the stars. "Why did they laugh at us, Grandpa?" she asked. The old man smiled, not kindly. "Because they don't know what comes after laughter." "What comes after?" The old man looked up at the stars, too. Silence, and the silence was spreading. The Creole spy ship drifted quietly in space. It had followed the human cargo ship across the stars, hiding behind rocks and moons, careful not to be seen. The spy pilot, a six-eyed creature named Vor, had expected to find a weak planet. He thought Earth would be full of noise, confusion, and old machines. Instead, what he saw made him stop breathing, if he even could. Earth was peaceful. Not weak, peaceful. Its skies were filled with quiet drones and flying ships. Cities glowed at night. Not from fire, but from clean energy. There were no signs of war, no armies marching in the streets. But there were signals, strange signals, data flowing between satellites, codes moving through space, plans. Vor zoomed in on one place, a giant mountain base hidden under snow. Something was being built there, a ship, huge and dark, unlike anything in the council's records. He tried to scan it, but his systems failed. The human technology pushed his scanners back like a wall. He backed away, afraid. "They are not weak," he said quietly to himself. "They are hiding their strength." Vor returned to the Creole homeworld and gave his report to the High Council. When the alien leaders heard it, their smiles vanished. The Creole had once called Earth a joke. Now no one laughed. Across the galaxy, other species started watching Earth too. Satellites were launched. Spy drones were sent. But the more they watched, the less they understood. Earth was changing. Fast. Technology was advancing at a speed they couldn't explain. Ships were being built with unknown metals. Engines ran, without fuel. Even the plants on Earth were growing faster. The Nolixan scientists, beings of soft light and sound, were confused. "Their knowledge should be limited," one of them said. "Their species is young. How are they doing this?" The answer came from an unlikely place. An old Kren historian who had studied ancient battles and dead civilizations asked to speak before the council. His name was Velen, and he walked slowly, carrying a data tablet filled with forgotten truths. "I have found something," he said. "Old records, from long ago, before Earth joined the stars." The council listened. "Thousands of years ago," Velen began, "humans nearly destroyed themselves. They had powerful weapons, nuclear bombs, chemical agents, machines of fire. But they stopped, not because they were forced, not because someone made peace. They chose to stop. They were tired of war. He paused and looked around the room. You laughed at them for being peaceful, but peace is not weakness. Peace is control. Whispers filled the hall. They ended their wars, Valen continued, then turned to science, to art, to medicine. They healed their world, and now they remember. The council members grew quiet. Some looked worried, others angry. A few still didn't believe it. They are still small, said the Gorth war leader. Their fleets are tiny. Valen nodded. But they build with purpose, not to conquer, to protect. Protect from what? Someone asked. Valen's voice dropped. From us. Back on Earth, General Marcus Hale stood in a dark room, watching stars on a screen. A map showed council space, bright dots for every alien fleet. He knew their numbers, their strengths, their pride. They fear us now, said one of his officers. No, Hale said, not yet, but they are starting to listen. Another officer stepped forward. Should we speak to them again? Not yet. Let them wonder. And so, the waiting began. Across the galaxy, the mood changed. Aliens that once mocked humans now held secret meetings. What if they strike first? What if they are building weapons too strong to stop? What if we pushed them too far? Small powers, once loud and bold, became quiet. Larger empires sent messages to Earth, kind messages, full of offers and gifts, but Earth stayed silent. The council grew divided. Some wanted to welcome humans back. Others wanted to prepare for war. The Gorth, proud and stubborn, said, "They cannot scare us. We are the strong. We should strike before it is too late." One council member asked, "Strike who? A planet that hasn't threatened us? Are we that afraid of silence?" Back on Earth, children studied the stars in school. They were taught science, art, and languages, but also history, all of it. The old wars, the mistakes, the pain. They were not taught to hate. They were taught to remember. In one classroom, a young girl raised her hand. Why did the aliens laugh at us? The teacher, a woman with kind eyes, paused before answering. Because they didn't understand. Understand what? That silence is not weakness. It is patience. On the Creel homeworld, Vor sat alone in his quarters, watching the Earth recording again, the humans walking out, the council laughing, the silence after. He shivered. They didn't threaten us. He whispered to himself. They didn't need to. Out in the dark, on the edge of council space, a star went quiet. No explosion, no warning, just silence. And the galaxy began to ask a new question. What happens when the quiet ones stop being quiet? And Earth, still watching, still waiting, remained silent. But not asleep. Never asleep. Out beyond the farthest council station, a star vanished. It did not explode. It did not flicker. One moment it burned bright, yellow and strong. The next, it was gone. The planets around it went cold. Life ended in seconds. At first, the council thought it was a natural event. Stars sometimes die, but this one was young, too young. And it didn't die. It disappeared. No radiation, no warning, just a hole in space where light used to live. Panic spread. A team of scientists flew to the system to investigate. What they found made their blood freeze. If they had blood, there was nothing left, not even dust. It was as if the star and everything around it had never existed. The council sent more ships, more scanners, more tools. Still, they found nothing. Then someone asked the question no one wanted to hear. Was it the humans? The council chamber, filled with voices. They can't do that. It's not possible. That's a god's weapon, not a human one. But one voice was quiet, cold, and certain. It was Elron, the ancient council member with a body like smoke and glass. Don't ask if it was them, Elron said. Ask why, if it was. The silence after his words was worse than fear. At the edge of the room, a message arrived. It was from the Kren Empire, a proud species known for spying. They had watched Earth for months and just picked up a signal. A brief flash from one of Earth's deep space satellites. A simple line of code hidden in the transmission. Translated, it said, "We do not shout. We remember." That same day, a small diplomatic team from Earth visited a neutral station. They said nothing about the star. Instead, they delivered one sentence to the ambassador who had laughed the loudest at the council meeting. "You laughed. We remembered." Then they left. The ambassador, once loud and bold, locked himself in his quarters for 3 days. He refused to speak to anyone. When asked what happened, he simply said, "Their eyes. They didn't hate me. They pitied me." Back on Earth, General Hale met with the High Science Council. In a dark room filled with glowing screens, he stood before a map of the galaxy. He pointed to the missing star system. "They noticed," he said. A scientist replied, "They were supposed to." Hale nodded. "We warned them once. Now they feel it. But will they listen?" "I don't care," the general said. "What matters is that they understand." On the other side of the galaxy, the Gorth Empire met in secret. These warriors had no fear, or so they claimed. But even they could feel the pressure. Their strongest warlord slammed his fist on the table. "We should strike them now. Earth is dangerous. If we wait, they'll become gods." "But they have done nothing directly to us," another leader said. "If we attack first, we may start something we can't stop." The room argued. But the oldest among them said nothing. He just stared at the image of the vanished star. Later that night, a Gorth scout ship moved toward the edge of human space. Its mission was to provoke, to test, but it never reached its target. The scout sent a message seconds before it vanished. "We are being watched." And then silence. The council met again, more worried than ever. Everyone asked the same question. "What are the humans planning?" Still, Earth said nothing. A council representative tried to visit Earth. They were denied entry, not rudely, just firmly. The reply was short. "We will contact you when we are ready." In the middle of Earth's orbit, a space station rotated slowly. From a distance, it looked like an old design, harmless. But those who scanned it closely found nothing, no heat, no signal, no life, and no way to explain what was inside. The council's best minds gathered. "If they've made a weapon that can erase stars," one scientist whispered, "we are already too late." "No," said another. "If they had wanted us, gone, we would be." And that truth was heavier than any weapon. Back on Earth, children were playing in a garden near a school. They laughed, ran, and built towers from stone. Nearby, their teacher watched the sky. She held a small device, a scanner, and frowned. "What is it?" another teacher asked. "Nothing," she replied. "A ship passed nearby, then disappeared." "A threat?" The teacher looked at the children. "Not to them." The other teacher looked confused. "Not to the humans?" "No," she said. "Not to the stars." And high above them, inside the dark station, a voice echoed inside a sealed room. Observation complete. Reaction measured. Stage 2 ready. Back in the council hall, an urgent meeting was called. One leader stood and said, "We mocked the humans. We ignored their silence. We thought they had no power. But now," he paused, "now we don't know what they are." And across space, deep in the heart of Earth's newest base, a computer screen lit up. It showed a single word: wait. And the galaxy waited. The galaxy waited. After the star vanished and 2 ships disappeared near Earth's border, many council races chose silence. Their war fleets stopped moving, their spy probes turned off. The loud voices that once called Earth a joke were quiet now. But Earth kept building. Underground labs buzzed with activity. Huge machines carved out entire mountains. Orbiting. Stations blinked with strange lights. Satellites were reprogrammed to move in strange paths. New signals flowed through space, coded, unreadable, untouchable. The Council sent another message. This time it was polite. "Let us talk," it said. "Let us begin again." Earth didn't answer. Weeks passed. A second star dimmed. Not completely gone, just weakened. Light faded like someone had turned down a dial. The planets around it still moved, but something was wrong. The creatures living there, small, intelligent, peaceful, stopped sending. Signals dead, hidden? No one knew. The Council held an emergency meeting. "This must stop," shouted the Gorth warlord. "They are sending a message." But they never said it was them, another replied. "Who else could do this?" a Creel scientist asked. "We never saw humans build a star weapon, but clearly they did." Quietly. Then Elrond spoke. He stood slowly, his old eyes calm. "They are not showing power," he said. "They are testing our fear." "What do we do?" someone whispered. "We apologize," said Elrond. "Fully, not with gifts or messages, with truth." A few laughed at that, but no one laughed for long. In a distant sector, a group of pirates tried to raid a human research ship. It was a small ship, unarmed, peaceful. The pirates boarded. They expected an easy win. They never made it off. No shots. Fired. No screams heard. Just silence. When another ship came to check, they found both vessels floating, untouched, but every pirate gone, vanished, and scratched into the wall of the pirate ship were 6 simple words. "You entered. You do not belong." That message was shown to the entire Council. No one knew how it got there. No one saw the humans do it. But everyone believed they had. Finally, the Council sent a direct request. "Please speak to us. Tell us what you want. This time," Earth replied. A video played across the Council screens. It showed General Hale standing in front of a gray wall. Behind him was only a flag, Earth's flag, dark blue with a single white star. He looked tired but strong. "You laughed at us," he began. "We offered peace. You gave mockery. We showed respect. You gave insult. We stayed silent. You grew afraid." He stepped closer to the camera. "Now you ask what we want." He paused. "We want you to remember." The screen went dark. No demands. No threats. Just memory. The Council called an emergency vote. Some wanted to declare war. Others wanted to send gifts, beg for peace, or offer power. A few wanted to flee, leave the galaxy behind and search for safety elsewhere. But there was nowhere to run. Because Earth wasn't attacking planets. Earth was changing minds. In small corners of the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Council. Members woke up to find Earth devices in their homes, silent, glowing with soft light. No alarms were triggered. No doors were broken. Just a single object, left on a desk or a bed or a pillow. A small black cube. It played one sentence when touched. "UI are not in control." And then it shut off. No one could open it, scan it, destroy it. One Council scientist tried to break it with a beam cutter. The cutter exploded. The cube was unharmed. After that, they stopped touching them. One brave voice, a small ambassador from a weak system, stood up during a Council session. His name was Relk, and he had once laughed at the humans, too. Not anymore. "I saw the humans once," Relk said. "Not just in the Council. I visited Earth before all this started. They were kind. They fed me. They laughed with me, not at me. I never felt afraid." He looked around the chamber. "But now I do." Someone asked, "Because they have power?" Relk shook his head. "Because they stopped sharing it." And that was the truth. Earth never bragged, never showed off. Never demanded. They simply stopped talking. And silence from a species like that was terrifying. In a secret chamber under Earth's surface, Hale met with Earth's highest minds. Scientists, philosophers, warriors. On the table was a simple question. Are they ready? To hear us again? One scientist said yes. They are afraid. We could use that. A philosopher said no. Fear creates fake peace, not respect. Hale looked at them both. Then he stood. We will wait, not because we must, but because we can. Back in space, far beyond the Council's edge, an old satellite floated. A drone found it and played its last recording. It was the voice of a human child. She laughed. Then she asked, "Why did they laugh at us?" And her grandfather replied, "Because they didn't know who we are." Then the message ended. The drone sent it to the Council, and in rooms filled with noise and fear and light, silence returned, and Earth watched, still waiting, still silent, but never weak. Never again. The Council chamber was full, every seat taken, every leader present. No jokes, no side talk, just silence and waiting. For the first time in history, Earth had called the meeting. The humans didn't arrive in a fleet. They sent one ship, and from that ship, only one human stepped out. It wasn't a general, not a scientist, not a warrior. It was a woman named Elena Reyes, a teacher from Earth. She walked through the halls slowly, calmly, not afraid, not proud, just present. When she reached the center of the Council chamber, she looked around once. Then she spoke. "Years ago," she said, "we came here with open hands. No screen behind her, no flags, just her voice. You laughed. Some in the crowd looked away. Others lowered their heads. We stayed silent. We built. We watched." She looked at them all. "And now we return." One council member spoke. "To lead?" Elena shook her head. "No." "To threaten us?" "No." "Then why?" She smiled softly. "To leave." Gasps echoed through the room. "Leave? What do you mean?" "We will no longer be part of this council," she said. "We offered peace. You gave us fear. Now, we offer you freedom from us." The chamber grew cold. "You are leaving the galaxy?" someone asked. Elena nodded. "Our ships have already begun the journey, to a new region of space, unexplored, untouched." "But why?" one voice shouted. "You have power now. You could rule us." She looked at them with tired eyes. "Ruling you was never our dream. We gave you a chance to stand with us. You chose to laugh. So now we choose to walk," another voice asked. "Are you punishing us?" "No," she said. "We are forgiving you." That silence was heavier than any weapon. Elena looked up, toward the dome of the chamber, where stars could be seen. "We do not destroy stars. We hide them, to remind you what darkness feels like." Now many understood. "You never killed those planets," one member whispered. She nodded. "No, they are safe, hidden, waiting." For what? For when the galaxy is ready, for kindness, for change. A screen lit up beside her. It showed dozens of species, weak, ignored, forgotten. They were now with Earth, protected, thriving. "These," Elena said, "are our allies now." And behind them, human ships. Hundreds, massive, silent, glowing like distant gods. "We don't need a council," she said. "We are building something new." "What?" asked Elron, speaking slowly. She looked at him. "A future." The chamber was silent again. "But you're still watching us," someone said. "Even if you leave." She nodded. "Yes. Always. Because someday one of you will need help. And will come, not for power, Not for thanks, but because that's who we are." She paused. "You laughed at us once. Never again. Not because we are scary, but because you finally understand." She turned to leave. Someone stood. A small voice. A young representative from a quiet world. "Please," they said, "let us come with you." Elena stopped, turned, smiled. "If you come to build, not to rule, then yes." One by one, others stood, not out of fear, not out of shame, but out of hope. Hope that the new world Earth was building might be better than the old one. Elena walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council stood still, no longer leaders, no longer mockers, just watchers. And when her ship left, it did not roar. It whispered. A signal filled the chamber. A final message from Earth. We walked away. The path is still open. Find it, if you dare. Then the stars blinked, and Earth was gone. Not vanished, not hidden, just beyond the edge of what they once called possible. And somewhere, in a far place beyond any map, humans built cities among stars. They taught, they healed, they dreamed, and they remembered. Not the laughter, but the silence after it, because that silence became their strength, and the galaxy would never forget them again.